Everything right now feels like it takes more effort. It's more challenging. It's just tougher to get things done, and it takes longer to get them done. So how do you move during a pandemic when it already feels like a big impossible task? I'd like to share a story with you about how we helped one of our clients make that happen. Hello, I am Lisa Dunn. I'm with RE/MAX Results in the Change Agents group. Thanks for being here. You know, moving is one of those challenges that it's life-altering. It's stressful. I know, I just moved myself. It's challenging. And when you've lived in your home for 50 or more years and you're older and maybe aren't able to pack quite as easily as you could have 20 years ago, it's a challenge. So I got a call from a gal named June, and she was referred to us by the Senior Linkage line. The Senior Linkage line is a 1-800 phone number sponsored by the Metro Area Agency on Aging. It's a mouthful. And it's sponsored by the state of Minnesota. And we are one of the resources on the Senior Linkage line because we know that moving when you're older is challenging. So we often get referrals from them to help some of our older clients move. When I talked with June, she explained to me that she had about 3 months worth of cash left, which meant that she would need to find a place to live. And most senior housing buildings that have subsidized rentals have long waiting lists. That she'd need to find a place to live, get her home cleared out, get packed, get moved, get her home on the market, and get it closed within 3 months before she ran out of money. The challenge was she has a mortgage on her home, has homeowners association dues she has to pay, property taxes, utilities, and in addition, some maintenance items on her home that she really wanted to get done. So my challenge was to help her find a place to live so that we could get her house on the market. And so I met with June, spent a lot of time talking with her about where she wanted to live, what she thought she could afford per month, what her costs were per month, and what her biggest concerns were about moving. So once we figured those things out, I went to work, came up with a list of 4 or 5 senior housing buildings that, after doing some research, I knew had subsidized rents, had openings, and were taking move-ins. It was also in the area of the Twin Cities that she wanted to live. So it ticked all of the boxes. And when I went to meet with her a second time, we didn't talk about the house. We didn't talk about her bills. We talked about focusing on figuring out where she would move to. That was the very first thing we needed to address with June. And so her homework assignment was to simply call the list of buildings I gave her, see if they had the amenities that she wanted, to tour them, to look at the units available, and to determine which one would be the best fit for her. She very happily called me a couple days later and said that she had identified which building she wanted to move into. She had put down a deposit for her unit, and we knew the day that she was going to move in. So with that information in mind, now we could talk about getting her house ready. In this market, it's really important to know where you're moving to. And at this time, it can be really difficult to identify where do I even start and what are the resources I need. That's where we can help you. I have a bias that I'm going to share with you. And that is, if you determine that you would like to make a move, there is really no obstacle too great that would stop you from making that move happen. And I can say that with a relative amount of confidence because I've been doing this for 17 years. I've helped hundreds of people move, even when it didn't ever feel like they could. I have the benefit of being objective because I'm not the one who's in the middle of the move. And because I've been living and working in the Twin Cities area, I know where the resources are. And if I don't know, I know who to call to ask. And so the beauty is you don't have to have all of the answers. All I will ask you when I meet with you is, tell me what your concerns are. What are the things that we have to address and the obstacles we have to tackle to help get you moved? So June was able to move about a week ago, and she's all tucked into her new apartment, safe and sound, and we are going to be putting her home on the market in a week or so. I suspect with the average days on market that we will be able to meet her threshold of 3 months, that we should have her home sold and closed within 3 months, and she'll be able to move on. It took an army of folks that were able to pack June up, empty her house, clean it, get it ready for the market. And the beauty is she didn't have to do anything extra. When you break down this process into manageable steps and you have the resources available to help you make a move, any move that seems impossible at the beginning becomes very doable when you just take it one step at a time. That's why at the second meeting with June, she just had one homework assignment, which was to tour senior housing buildings. Very often, when you've lived in your home for 50 years, we don't start by talking about the house. We start by talking about, where would you want to move to? Let's craft your new chapter before we start talking about how to wrap the current one up. So that's the story I wanted to tell you. If June, who's an older adult, could make a move during a pandemic after living in her home for 50 years with very, very little cash, chances are, if what you want to accomplish is make a move, there's a way to make that happen. Feel free to give us a call anytime. If you're looking for a resource to get started, if you're looking for ideas on how to start planning because you think you might want to move in a year or so, let us know. We're here to be a resource for you, and you have an open invitation to call us at any time. My contact information is below. Make it a great day.